Welcome back to the IBM Licensing Masterclass. I'm Shub, the license nerd. In videos 1 and 2, we covered the 30,000 product trap and the PVU deep dive. Today, we're tackling the future of IBM licensing, Cloud Paks, and the virtual processor core metric. This is the licensing model IBM is pushing on every single customer, and it's hiding traps that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. IBM Cloud Paks are IBM's strategic packaging vehicle for containerized enterprise software. Launched in 2019, Cloud Paks bundle dozens of IBM middleware, analytics, automation, and security products into pre-packaged containers that run on Red Hat OpenShift. IBM is pushing every customer toward Cloud Paks, whether it makes financial sense or not. There are 7 Cloud Pak product lines: Cloud Pak for business automation, Cloud Pak for data, Cloud Pak for integration, Cloud Pak for security, Cloud Pak for AI ops, Cloud Pak for network automation, and Cloud Pak for what's in AI ops. Each one bundles multiple IBM products under a single entitlement model. The commercial pitch sounds amazing. Buy one Cloud Pak license and use it across all bundled components without separate product licensing. Running IBM MQ alongside App Connect and API Connect? One Cloud Pak for integration license covers all 3. Sounds like a great deal, right? Wrong. The devil is in the details. Let's talk about the VPC metric. VPC stands for Virtual Processor Core. Unlike PVU, which uses a complex weighting table based on processor architecture, VPC is supposedly simpler. One VPC equals one virtual CPU core allocated to IBM software in a containerized environment. 4 vCPUs allocated means 4 VPCs consumed. But here's the first trap. VPC measures allocated cores, not actual utilization. If your container namespace has 8 cores allocated as a resource limit, but your IBM software only uses 2 cores on average, you are still consuming 8 VPCs. Every single core of headroom you allocate for performance safety counts as license consumption. In Kubernetes and OpenShift, best practice says you should allocate generous resource limits to prevent pod eviction and ensure stability. But IBM's VPC metric punishes you for following best practices. The more headroom you allocate, the more VPC licenses you need. This creates a direct conflict between operational stability and licensing cost. Now let's talk about IBM License Service. This is the equivalent of ILMT for containerized environments. IBM License Service must be deployed and continuously running in every single OpenShift namespace where IBM Cloud Paks software is running. It collects VPC consumption data and generates compliance reports. Here is the critical rule. IBM License Service must be running before the first Cloud Pak pod starts. If you deploy Cloud Pak software first and install License Service later, you have 0 compliance coverage for that gap period. IBM will assert full capacity licensing for every day Cloud Pak ran without license service. There is no retroactive coverage. What does full capacity mean in a container world? It means IBM charges you for every single core in the entire OpenShift cluster, not just the cores allocated to your Cloud Pak namespace. If your cluster has 200 cores across all nodes, and you forgot to install license service, IBM can claim you owe licenses for all 200 cores. The most common license service failure is incomplete namespace coverage. Organizations deploy it in their primary Cloud Pak namespaces but miss auxiliary namespaces, utility pods, event processing namespaces, pre-production copies of production deployments. IBM's auditors will find every single gap. IBM requires 24 months of historical license service reporting data. If auditors request your reports from Q3 of last year and you cannot produce them, IBM asserts full capacity licensing for that entire uncovered period. In a large Cloud Pak environment, that retroactive claim can be multi-million dollars. Now let's talk about the OpenShift double licensing problem. This is the trap that IBM's sales team will never mention. Every Cloud Pak includes an entitlement to Red Hat OpenShift container platform, but this entitlement is restricted use only. It can only be used to run the specific Cloud Pak software and its bundled components. What happens if you run non-IBM workloads on the same OpenShift cluster? Your custom microservices, third-party containers, internal applications? IBM treats that additional OpenShift usage as unlicensed consumption. You need separate Red Hat OpenShift entitlements for every non-IBM workload on that cluster. This creates a terrible binary choice. Option A. Maintain strict workload segregation, running Cloud Pak on a dedicated cluster separate from everything else. This increases your infrastructure costs significantly. Option B. Purchase unrestricted OpenShift entitlements for the shared cluster. This increases your licensing costs significantly. IBM never presents either option in their initial sales proposal. Let's look at Cloud Pak for integration, the most commonly deployed Cloud Pak. It bundles IBM MQ, App Connect Enterprise, API Connect, IBM Data Power, Event Streams, which is IBM's Kafka, and Aspira for high-speed file transfer. Your VPC pool is shared across all these components. But here's the catch. Different components consume VPCs at different ratios. IBM uses a ratio table where some components consume VPCs at a 1:1 rate, while others consume at 2:1 or even higher. If you don't understand the ratio table, you will burn through your VPC entitlement far faster than you planned. Cloud Pak for integration only makes economic sense if you are running 3 or more of the bundled products. If you only use IBM MQ and nothing else, a standalone MQ license is almost always cheaper than buying Cloud Pak for integration capacity you will never use. But IBM's sales team will push Cloud Pak for every single middleware renewal regardless. Now let's talk about Cloud Pak for data. This bundles DB2, Cognos Analytics, Watson Studio, DataStage, and Watson Knowledge Catalog. Deal sizes range from $150,000 to over $750,000 annually. But the licensing complexity here is amplified by the distinction between base entitlements and premium add-ons. Premium add-on services like Watson Query, Watson Knowledge Catalog Plus, and Cognos Embedded Analytics consume VPCs at a different rate from the base bundle. They have a consumption multiplier. Organizations that deploy premium add-ons without understanding this multiplier discover at renewal that their effective per VPC cost is dramatically higher than the headline price IBM quoted. This is the PVU-to-VPC transition trap, and it catches almost every company migrating to Cloud Paks. When you move from PVU-based middleware licenses to Cloud Pak VPC entitlements, analyses show the metric conversion can increase your net licensing cost by 10 to 20%. IBM's sales materials never highlight this. Why does the cost increase? Under PVU subcapacity, ILMT captures only the virtual cores assigned to your IBM software VM. Under VPC, you pay for every core allocated to the Cloud Pak namespace, including all the headroom allocation that good container management requires. The metric is structurally more expensive in high consolidation environments. The transition must be recorded through a formal passport advantage transaction. Until IBM processes the metric migration, ambiguity exists about which metric governs your deployment. IBM's auditors can exploit this ambiguity. Never deploy Cloud Pak workloads and decommission legacy PVU workloads in the same audit period without ensuring the metric migration is formally registered first. When IBM audits a Cloud Pak environment, they focus on 3 categories. First, IBM License Service Report Continuity. They want a complete, uninterrupted time series of VPC consumption reports from day one. Any gap equals full capacity for that period. Second, VPC consumption reconciliation. Auditors compare your reported VPC consumption from license service against the entitlement purchased through Passport Advantage. Any shortfall is a compliance finding requiring immediate true-up payment, typically at audit settlement pricing, which carries a significant premium over normal renewal pricing. Third, OpenShift Entitlement Scope Review. Auditors examine whether all workloads on your OpenShift cluster are within the restricted use scope of the Cloud Pak's OpenShift entitlement. Any non-Cloud Pak workload triggers either a separate ROC entitlement requirement or an upgrade to a higher Cloud Pak tier. So what is your action plan? Step 1. Deploy IBM License Service before any Cloud Pak workload goes live. Not after. Not during. Before. Step 2. Ensure license service covers every single namespace in every cluster where IBM software runs, including auxiliary and pre-production namespaces. Step 3. Set up automated reporting and archiving for license service data. Keep 24 months minimum. Step 4. Resolve the OpenShift double licensing question before deployment. Decide on dedicated clusters or unrestricted entitlements. Step 5. Model the build versus bundle economics independently before accepting any Cloud Pak proposal from IBM. Step 6. Understand the VPC ratio tables for your specific Cloud Pak. Know how each component consumes VPCs. Step 7. If migrating from PVU to VPC, ensure the formal Passport Advantage metric migration is registered before you deploy Cloud Pak workloads. Do not leave metric ambiguity for auditors to exploit. In video 4 of this series, we will cover IBM audit defense, how to survive an IBM software audit, the audit triggers, the SWMA team tactics, and the step-by-step preparation checklist that could save your company millions. You won't want to miss it. If this video saved you from an IBM Cloud Pak licensing disaster, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with your IT asset management and cloud platform teams. I'm Shub, the license nerd, and I'll see you in the next one.